All right, how are we running things? Are you going to be our little interview guy, Matt?
Oh, me? Yeah. I will. So I'm going to delve into your psyches here.
Here we go.
So I'll just drive along here, and it looks like you're trying to avoid opening theory, Jared. No, I wouldn't.
Is that no. Actually, I have a line in mind. Well, a position in mind. I'm trying to get to.
Okay.
And we got really close to it.
So this is interesting opening choice. I'll tell you what, Brian. Can you take us through 4 or 5 moves here and just give us your thoughts?
Starting now.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, Jared's got both bishops being shadows. So yeah, bishop e7 is developing, prepared to castle. And so yeah, Jared castles. Yeah, I castle. Pretty simple there. And then the knight c3 is trying to control the light squares here in the center. So yeah, I want to win for d5 because I want to get the d7 square for the knight and kind of open up the center a little bit.
Yeah, that's a normal move.
Yeah. So he takes back with a knight because I don't want to take with a pawn because then Jared can play d4 and it kind of locks in my light square bishop.
Exactly. Well, d4, and then we have potential to create hanging pawns, and our bishops are actually pretty good at attacking those.
Yeah. So took with the knight, and Jared takes with the bishop. Again, don't want the hanging pawns. Want to keep control of the long diagonal.
Yeah, I'm not sure if I had to take there. It probably wasn't forced. I probably could have played e3, and then if knight b4, d4.
Meaning here, or
no, right here.
Yeah.
So e3 is probably okay.
Yeah, you got to take it first because then I'm playing d4. So yeah. But yeah, here, yeah, you don't really have to take. Back.
I think it's a mistake too because your bishop's just open and solid, and you just have an easy game. Like there was no complications now, or very minor complications.
Yeah. D3, you're always threatening to play e4 here, but then when you do, it makes the d3 pawn weak. So.
Right.
Yeah,
I debated on playing d4. I didn't know over d3. But I mean, I felt like it would just be really drawish. So.
Oh yeah, be symmetrical.
Super symmetrical. I don't even know if you're down a tempo then. After bishop's trade, I mean, my knight's on d4 if we trade pawns, but.
I thought that Jared's moves were really strong. The next 3 moves, he played queen to c2 and then brought his rooks to c1 and d1. So I was going, well, that's a real nice positional build-up without committing to anything.
Exactly.
If you look at the next moves, his 3 moves are 1, 2, 3, and he's gone from a kind of passive position, just completing his development and not really committing to anything. And this, I thought, was a really interesting position. What was going to happen with this long diagonal here? Because it's just really interesting. And I didn't know how you guys were going to resolve this tension here, but I felt that it was in the air. I don't know how. What do you think, Jared? Were you thinking? What were you thinking here?
Well, I mean, I kind of had the general idea that I did later of pushing my queenside pawns and attacking the queenside, actually.
Minority attack?
Exactly. So as far as the bishops go, there's tension there, yeah, but that tension, once it resolves, the bishops are just off the board. One of my ideas was actually to play a maneuver, queen b1 to queen a1, or to a1, and do that kind of weird battery pressure. It's really weird, but black has to respect it because it's serious pressure.
Yeah, I thought this was really cool, but I did see that if you take all the pieces off the board, I think right here black has a slight advantage. So
yeah, C5 is up the board and it's solid.
Yeah,
I don't disagree.
I think the next, I'll let you drive, Jared, for a little while, but I noticed that you took here, Brian, and I kind of grimaced when you took here because normally you leave the pressure on the diagonal. What was your thoughts about taking here?
Well, one idea is he just moved his queen, so he's got to move the queen again to take. And I was always concerned about H7. He has the queen on that diagonal, and if he ever has like a tactic with the knight going to G5, some kind of discovered attack and hitting H7 at the same time. I mean, it's a long way from that happening, but
I was kind of playing for it.
All right,
So I thought if I just trade the bishops, I get his queen off that diagonal, and that's something I don't have to worry about.
Right. Yeah, I just felt like I'll turn this. You don't need me talking a lot, but I felt like in this position, Jared was just waiting to see what weaknesses would be induced in the position and then go from there. I didn't feel like he was trying to commit to play. He didn't want to play E4 and drive the bishop back. I thought maybe he'd play A5 here and try to create some sort of weakness in your pawn structure, but I didn't expect the bishops to come off right here. Jared, you can go ahead and move all the pieces and stuff.
Okay. Yeah, I'm completely fine with trades, of course. I feel like it's inevitable. It's just you can kind of do it whenever, so it's not a forced move. And the improvement, one of the ideas actually is to trade the bishops off and then try to play E5, try to get that kind of bind going.
Right.
And that actually looks fairly convincing positionally,
Well, you'd have a backwards D pawn if you did that.
No, trade the bishops off and he plays E5.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he would have a nice bind. And I would have to push my queenside pawns and go for my minority attack. Which I can basically do because his pieces aren't as much on the queen side now. Like the rook's no longer on A8. So the minority attack would actually probably provide decent counterplay. That's my opinion.
Yeah, it's interesting. Well, what do you think about like A4, A5? You think is that a decent response?
The reason I didn't like it is I kind of had ideas of us getting to an endgame, and I didn't want to create a weakness on B3. But I also didn't want to lose the potential of playing A3, B4. So A4 just gives up on that. And I think the position is a little bit static at that point. If we play A5, he has the option to play B5 and pass. And it's hard to say how bad that is.
Right. Let's just go forward to where that actually happens in the game, because it's right here. You played A3 with the idea of playing A5. And to me, a minority attack is where you try to create weaknesses in your opponent's pawn structures so you can attack them. Here, I'm not sure that was really achieved because he just takes it.
Right, but there's a tension now.
Yeah.
Actually, the problem, takes is not the best move. Takes was actually probably a mistake. And the reason is, if we play a couple moves, he has to play A6. Because actually B5 is a really strong move. It was the idea of playing, A3, B4. I'm trying to peg his two pawns down. And if that happens positionally, then it's like I have an extra pawn on the king side. And so if we go through trades and we get to an endgame, I have a better endgame.
Well, what's really interesting about this position is if you take all the pieces off, black wins. Because that's an outside passer. So I was thinking you would have to create some sort of attack here, some sort of just.
Well, if I don't get B5 in, yeah, you're right.
If it's black's move, it's winning. If it's white's move, a little different.
Yep.
Yeah, if White could play b5, then yeah, it would have stopped all that. I mean, I got the C file, so I figured it was probably a decent trade. He has this potential, and then I have C7 possibly.
Yeah, that queen's
it's hard
definitely.
to say.
So what happens here is the queen comes screaming down the C file. I actually don't know about this move. I just figured that the reason you played it was you were waiting. He was in time pressure already.
That's exactly what that move was. I was like, I'll just strengthen E2.
Yeah.
You know, a very small improvement in the position.
The cool thing about light chess is you can see you had 4 minutes and 30 seconds, and he had 1 minute here.
Yeah.
So here comes the queen. Now,
It's basically forced after bishop b7. It's hard to find another move there.
I figured he would play rook to d7 here, but he didn't. And maybe he's justified because he ended up with threats. And Brian, why did you choose to take the queen instead of playing rook d7?
Well, rook d7 and the queen takes b6.
Oh yeah.
So, I mean,
It just drops a pawn.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's pretty convincing.
Yep.
And at this point, I saw he was in time pressure, so I played e4, and I still don't think e4 is the best move.
yeah, I was pretty happy to see it actually.
Yeah.
Makes d3 weak, and my bishop wants to get behind that chain anyway. I mean, my idea was to actually go bishop b3 and bishop d1 and hit e2.
I think actually better is just rook a7. Just hit the a pawn.
Yeah.
I don't see why that's bad. In fact, are we just winning a pawn? I mean, it's close, right? I guess you have some tactics, but I end up with a passed pawn if you try to play for him. Like rook a7, a5, and
a8.
we just take, right? Rook a8.
Rook a8, you take on a8.
Okay, rook a8.
So basically, you guys are discussing this. Yeah.
Isn't this better for black with the on the side?
Yeah, you're right. Okay, so that wasn't reasonable.
Okay. And here we see Brian just pushing his pawns on the queen side. And there's one move here Brian made I thought was really good. I was proud of him. Right here. He gives up the pawn for rook activity, right, Brian?
Yeah.
I mean, you could have played here, which is a defensive move, but instead you played here. Could you tell us why? Why did you play here instead of defending your pawn?
Well, yeah, my idea is to attack f2. I mean, I got this knight on g4, which is after a while it's kind of annoying for white. And there's no way to kick it out, so I can just pressurize f2 and see if there's any kind of tactics.
I just thought that was a good move because instead of defending the pawn, you go on the offensive, which is nice. There you go.
Solid play, for sure.
Yeah, lovely. And now you can't really defend the pawn on f2, so that was definitely, a nice idea. I think if you played here, it probably wouldn't have ended well.
It gives me time to do something, yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't, I don't think you can.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think we chase the pawn. I think we actually try and get the knight out of there.
Oh,
Because if we trade, then he has a passed a pawn. You know, if we win the pawn.
right. Yeah, so this is the game situation here. And after this, it was mostly speed chess.
Which I shouldn't have been playing fast.
Right.
That was my big mistake in this position.
Yeah, you're up 3. over 3 and 3/4 minutes to 30 seconds. So you definitely, I'm not sure about the position here. It looks like white has an advantage.
I think black has an advantage for sure.
Yeah.
Past a pawn and
Yeah.
pressure on F2.
Yeah. So where would you say the game? What move do you think you lost your advantage here?
It was these rook moves. Rook b7 doesn't do anything, so that was just a waste of time. Definitely an improvement would have been like bishop h3 or even bishop f1.
Oh, basically keeping control of the c file and preventing any counterplay.
Right. The reason I played over there is in the time pressure. I was like, oh no, the passed a pawn's going to run, but the passed a pawn ran anyway. So it would have been better to maneuver my pieces to try and stop it instead of wasting time with rook b7.
Yeah, this is an interesting take too.
Oh yeah, a4, and then
that's going to
happen. We can just take the bishop, right?
Yeah, and then come back and you got time to stop it. Which
we trade pawns, but at least we're holding there.
Yeah.
At least I mean, black's still better. After he gets his rook down there, f2 is still creaking. So.
I might be able to draw this.
Yeah, it's tough though.
Yeah, interesting. All right, I'm not. We can look at the rest of the game. I'm not sure.
Well, you might as well play to checkmate.
Yeah,
it was a good checkmate.
It was check. Here he comes, and that's just the loss of a knight.
Yeah, that's just a blunder. Straight blunder.
Oh, there's a couple of blunders in a row. There's one. Here's two.
Yeah. Well, there's nowhere else for the king to go.
Is this
right? Yeah, bishop takes.
Nowhere else. Okay, so. Oh, look at this. I didn't realize it was actually forced.
Yeah.
Let's check. That's a forced checkmate right there.
Yeah, bishop can't take. The king has to run.
Yeah, I'm not sure that this is even preventable.
Well, king h3, and then he has to work to build the net again. Like he has to try and get his bishop over there somehow.
So maybe knight f2 here.
Well,
it doesn't look great for white.
Well,
I think black definitely goes up a pawn.
Yeah, it's yeah.
So what? So this basically the tale of this ending is I was feeling my opponent's time pressure and he wasn't feeling his own time pressure.
Yeah, Brian is an actual absolutely cool customer. I saw him in the Springfield Open play that National Master, which is Bob Holloman, and beat Bob Holloman in an equal endgame. And he just sat there and was cool as can be, despite the fact he was rated 1,700 at the time and Bob was rated 2,200. That was like really, I remember that.
Was a good game. We went over that game. It was impressive play at the end.
Yeah, because he's playing against somebody so much higher rated and just making good move.
Well, you get down to the last minutes, and then Bob is in the position where he's trying to win. He doesn't want to draw, and so he's trying to force things. And when you do that, sometimes you force the wrong things.
Yeah, it was really interesting because Bob had a knight stopping the F pawn, and it seemed to have stopped it. And Bob was trying to create something on the B file, I believe. Okay, so did you guys want to go over the other game too?
Yeah, we'll take a look, but we cut them, right, Adam? Or did we cut the videos? Or do we just want to go into it?
You can go either way. Yeah.
I mean, I gotta set it up. So.
Okay. Yeah, I'll go ahead and stop it then.
Okay.
And this is the hippopotamus. Normally you play here.
Right.
And
yeah, I think that's fine. Knight E7. You don't commit to H6 yet, but I didn't know if black or white had an idea of moving his bishop around to G3 or not.
Oh, right, to get on that diagonal.
Yeah, just try and put pressure on the center and add another kingside defender.
Mm-hmm.
Activate the bishop.
Yeah. Brian, what were you thinking right about here?
He probably loved his position.
It was okay, but this opening, it's really hard to find a plan. I mean, black has no weaknesses, so it's like, what do you attack? There's no weakness to attack. And so I knew like one idea was like when he played E6 and B6, if you play C4 and knight C3, it allows the bishop D4 pin, so I kind of avoided that stuff. But just kind of tried to keep the center as solid as possible.
Yeah, it got really interesting here. This game really shows how kingside attacks and like king's Indian structures and work. Right here,
they just work.
Well, I figured you'd castle queenside, Jared, and just storm the hell out of them, and you didn't.
It didn't make a lot of sense at the time. Yeah. So this is interesting. If you play the knight back, well, actually, right here, yeah, that's the idea. So I was looking at Isaiah's game and his the chess cup. He was in one of his games for that tournament, and he played this position as black, and he actually played knight e7 to g6. I don't think the position was exactly this. It seems like maybe white's knight was on c3, but the knight straight to g6 makes sense, but I thought the other knight coming around adds more fuel to the kingside storm, and so I wanted to give it a try, just see how it went.
The thing about Isaiah's games is he's such an expert in the modern that it's tricky because you can get absolutely bowled over as black in moves, you know.
Well, you have to be careful about the center breaks. So, like, you have to be mindful of E5 and D5 and make sure those aren't just like crushing you.
Yeah, so definitely really interesting. I figured the best response to a wing attack is to push in the center, and then Brian didn't play it here. He played this, and I felt strongly that this was like maybe a mistake to this check here, because when you play c3, you actually get more space over here, and then you could castle queenside, which you didn't do. But Brian, what did you regret playing this move?
Probably. I mean, well, yeah, the idea is that basically forces c6 because Jared doesn't want to put a piece on c6. So, you know, it blocks the bishop's diagonal.
Right.
It also kind of just makes the queen side a little weaker. So, I mean, I'm just kind of trying to provoke a weakness because so far black has no weaknesses.
Yeah.
I mean, it's basically the frustrating thing about this opening is it's hard to find a plan. So, I mean, it's like you got to try something. Otherwise, black's just going to get all its pieces on great squares and be better.
And there'll be a break and it'll be annoying.
Yeah. It just seems to me like I was thinking about something that's terrible. Like, I'm not even sure I should tell you, but I was thinking G6 because it weakens all the light squares, and you've got, but that F4 square is he puts a knight on it, and I don't know.
You mean G3?
No,
yeah.
Well, I mean, with this knight coming here, it just seems so strong.
Yeah. You kind of have to consider it. Absolutely, it's a concession either way. Which concession do you want to make?
Yeah.
I mean, bishop takes, pawn takes, the G file's open, and that has to be good for black. Has to be.
It does. You can't take that knight, and especially when the other knight comes, you really can't take it because it just another knight pops up on the same square. So I mean, it's really interesting, and it all started back here with this check.
It's all the check's
because-
fault.
well, because
It's a waste of time.
yeah, and here he comes, boom. So I don't know if this is good or bad, but I refuse to turn on an engine to figure it out. But I don't have Brian. What did you think in this situation? Did you think that did you feel good, or did you think he was gonna?
No, I'm thinking Jared's definitely better here.
Yeah.
I feel like there's a lot of potential in the position, and White still has his space, but Black's starting to get some squares. So it's to me, it's feeling a little bit double-edged, actually. Probably more double-edged for him than me, but double-edged.
All right, I'm gonna play a game. I'm gonna turn the engine on. Well, before I do, let's everybody guess what the evaluation is. I'm gonna say Black a full pawn. Brian, what do you think? We'll just do this once. I don't like engines, but
I'll say Black half a pawn.
Yeah, I would give half pawn to 0.75.
to 0.75. So the answer is it's hovering right around 0.5, 0.6. So I guess our evaluation is pretty, negative 0.5, negative 0.6. Yep. Okay.
It makes sense. I mean, Black has a wonderful knight on F4.
Yeah, real interesting stuff. And then this, I was going, I wasn't that sure about this move, but it does cement the knight in permanently. So
Well, what I kind of wanted is I wanted to have an F5 break at some point, and if I play E5, then it doesn't give him the option to try and pass. So and open up the middle. And obviously, if we trade, if D takes E and stuff like that, I don't really mind. I'm coordinated enough to handle that. Still have my knight on F4, so.
yeah.
And that is just me trying to block it in the center so I can just focus on the king side advance.
Yeah, this is a great move, I thought. Now it's all going to be on the king side.
King side, and then, the wing. I didn't probably have to play C4. I just got greedy. I think I shouldn't play it, actually.
I figured your next two moves would be queen to D7 and castle long.
Queen D7 was definitely on the agenda. And I still wasn't decided if castles long or short was best. It kind of depends. I mean, after C4, castles long is really just not an option.
Yeah, I know. That's
So probably just Queen D7 is the better, keeping it flexible.
mm-hmm. And
When I saw that D3 square, and I was like, octopus knight. That has to be worth something.
oh, you're creating an outpost here.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's so. The whole idea is to create this outpost square.
Right. That's why it was so alluring, but I don't know if it's that good because White gets his queenside play in, and it's not like winning or anything, but he gets the pressure, and it slows things down for Black. And the knight coming into D3 after bishop E2 is not as strong, so.
Yeah. It just feels like. Now here, I was thinking about just show you a variation that is absolutely terrible, but I was kind of thinking that something along this lines might be playable. I know this looks terrible because you're weakening all these squares, but I'm not sure I could live with that knight, and I probably would have tried something like this, and then later on.
I don't know if the knight goes to D3 there or not. Like, the check doesn't do a lot, but the knight on D3 hits all sorts of stuff. And then the knight's not trapped because the knight can come back to C5 if ever there's a chance to trade it off for the bishop, so.
Yeah.
This is very bindy.
Yeah, it is. Well, Brian, you want to drive for a while and give your thoughts?
Okay. So yeah, B5, taking more space. A4 here, or not? Yeah. Yeah, I was trying to maneuver the knight to A3 to C2 and eventually B4 to help control that D3 square. And so hitting B5 so it kind of forces Jared to play A6. So knight drops back to C2.
I probably should have played queen D7 there again, just to get the queen up and defend the pawn.
Yeah.
I mean, A6 will probably get played anyway at some point, but at least the queen's developed.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so you go ahead and commit to the king side, then A4. Trying to tear down the pawn chain.
Yeah, because you're going to get your knight to B4, and that's going to be great. But you can't play it immediately because he'll play A5 and kick your knight.
Yeah.
But here you're going to create a this, I thought you'd actually made some progress in the game here.
So
Yeah, he did.
now queen D7.
Yeah, and C6 is weak. My knight coming to D3 is not really an idea anymore. And G3 might actually be on the agenda for white here.
Yeah, so this queenside play by Brian actually was nice.
So I wonder what the engine says now.
Oh, well,
It's way different.
hey, let's go around the room. All right. I'm going to say that this is, I'm going to say this is equal. He's equalized. Jared?
I'm going to give black like 0.1.
I'd say 0.2 black.
And the answer is white is ahead. Oh, it's bouncing around. It's 0.1.
Okay, so it's probably about equal then.
0.2 for white. It's one of those positions that's just kind of equalish, but white is it's staying on 0.2 or whatever. All right, so kind of basically equal for us humans. All right, so let's go forward a couple of moves. It gets interesting up here.
Yeah, there might be better there for.
I
like
thought
both
there might be
players.
a tactic here. Now this doesn't quite work, but did you think of this? I mean,
Well, I was thinking F5 and trying to undermine it. That's what I was thinking.
because you can, you've got this discovery.
Oh, that? Yeah. The problem is D6 is weak.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Because if you go into this line at the end, this is a weak pawn, and it actually falls, because of this. So if you look at the tactics, it's this, this, that, and then boom.
Right. So that's probably still okay for black. But it's probably okay for white too. So
Yeah, it's kind of sus.
Simplifies the position a little bit, so
yeah.
But
maybe
instead, he does this, which I think is okay because he's got two knights. So I was totally expecting this on the next move, but nope. Oh, he did play it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I see. So he just takes there and pops another knight out. Okay.
I think the idea here was F5. Yeah, it was F5.
Yeah.
I had thought about playing like Rook A8 or something like that and trying to get, tactical, but it didn't feel right. It felt like I should be pursuing play on the king side. And after he plays like Rook A1, like the pressure's offset, basically. I didn't feel like I was getting anything with that, so I went for F5.
Yeah, Rook A1 and And what does he play? I mean, he can't really play knight to c3. You just take it. And then that bishop has got 2 attackers on it. See, that doesn't really work tactically. So let's just look at this. What does white play here? Because the bishop is kind of running out of squares, right? It can't go here. It can't go here. And you can't really, I mean, defending it with an undefended rook feels wrong.
Well, I'd say the bishop b6.
Oh, like this?
Yeah, that's probably solid. But I mean, then we have the A file, and we just have the A file. So I don't know. Maybe it was reasonable. Although it's like we're not winning anything. We just have control over a couple squares on the A file.
Yeah, and there's not a lot of entry points, right? These are controlled.
Yeah.
By white. Still, it's almost like tactically there might be tactics here. Just you can't really attack this the bishop. You can't really get at it anyway. So yeah, all right. I don't.
Do we have the tactic of bishop takes on d5 here? No, the bishop's not hanging. Never mind. Yeah, that was the point of queen e3.
I'm going to turn the engine on just once. I hate doing it, but
you've done it 3 times.
You know what it says the best move is by far? Okay, here's the evaluation. The evaluation is minus 1.5 for f5, and everything else is just even.
Huh.
So it really likes the move that was played in the game.
Well, it's the only kind of active idea, right?
Yeah, as long as there's no other tactics, then yes. So
I wasn't sure about f3. I think I was pretty happy about seeing that when it was played.
Well, you're going to take on e4, so there's taking on e4 is really bad for white. So,
but after f3, it's like g5 or g4 rather is decent, and it's not winning. It's just pressure. And my eventual idea. So if you go ahead and play it,
okay.
Actually, hold on. Don't play it. Yeah, play it, and then. Actually, I'll drive for a second if you don't mind.
Okay. Yeah.
Pushes, and he took, but I thought perhaps something like this, king over, or maybe a rook 8. Well, it's hard to find a better move. So king over, and then my idea was to play king over 2 and slide the rook over and just try and do something. I thought this was actually the better way to play because it keeps the tension, and white isn't like losing. White's holding his squares basically, and black has to find a way to kind of try and break through. I don't see any tactics, so
yeah, the bishop.
Not yet.
Well, you need more than one piece to checkmate, and the
right
bishop isn't going to be the piece. Because it's on b7, and there's no open lines for your pieces.
Right. That's why we're going to try and migrate everything to the G file. Maybe play the bishop up and swing the queen over too, if we can.
Yeah.
I thought this was the better way to play instead of takes. Because after takes, I think it's just we have pressure and there's nothing really white can do about it. I think the main problem is that this square here, that one's weak. And in fact, we end up winning it later. Actually, pretty soon.
Yeah, and this line here falls on its face. It's too good. You can't do that. See, the knight is basically entrenched. You're not getting rid of this knight as white.
Oh, that knight is worth at least a rook, at least.
Yeah, and it's been there the whole darn game, and it just. I don't know. That's why right in the beginning, I thought G6 might be a way to deal with it. One other thing you might be able to consider, but there's no time, is to get the bishop back and trade it for the bishop. But as far as using your knights to trade to get rid of that, they're not on any natural. There's no natural squares to attack it from.
Yeah, the knight on F1 is kind of just stuck there.
Well, remember the knight on F8, there is no mate, but. All right, let's go forward a bit.
Okay.
Hmm.
So there's possibilities of knight h3 check, maybe. It's not quite working, though. Actually, that
Yeah,
bishop on
because
a7 is actually holding it.
Knight h6, queen takes h6, and there's nothing. There's no fancy checkmates there because the bishop controls the f2 square.
Exactly, yeah.
But it's close, right?
It's close. That's why I was like, let's just see if we can try and find a way.
Yeah. I bet you there's tactics here the engine can find. So Brian plays queen to e4 and sets up everybody's tactics detection.
Yeah, this just drops a pawn. I was
Yeah,
looking for better, but I didn't see anything better than just taking the pawn. So
yeah, he's lucky he has the bishop on a7. Otherwise, some of these tactics might actually end up in checkmate.
well, if he didn't have the bishop, then when the queen's on f3, the knight check on h3 is just winning.
Yeah.
So, but I don't have any way to block the bishop out. So, but there has to be something better than queen e4.
Well, usually in situations like this, you need to improve. You need to save pieces that are useless. This right now is a pretty useless piece. So I wonder if you could improve it somehow. And bring it back into the game. If only you could move it. If only you could move this knight like this.
So maybe move the other knight out to e3, something like that.
Yeah. Yeah, like hit that queen to one of these squares.
There you go.
Yeah, so if he plays here.
We still have check, but I don't think it really... Oh, do we... Yeah, we win a pawn. Actually, we win... Yeah, we win a pawn either way. So either the check or take it on d5, right? No, we have to play a check. Okay. And then we just trade and take... Are we losing a piece? Maybe we're not. Maybe we're not. King G2 looks like it's saving the day. Oh, maybe not. H4.
Oh, here?
King G2, knight back in H4. I don't see any tricks here. Yeah, we're not winning a pawn. So knight G3 would have been reasonable. Are you trying to sack on G3?
No, not sack. It's trade.
Right.
It's an exchange sack. Yeah. I'm just wondering. I'm just counting pieces. Is what I was doing. Is there anything here? I mean,
Yeah, that knight's pretty lousy on F7.
yeah, but it's probably enough compensation to prove that's maybe not the thing to do. But interesting. So in the game, it went like this. You took it.
Yeah, why not? I don't see why not to take it, so let's take it.
Yeah, so he grabs a pawn. And here, let's just stop here and look at this position. If we count the pieces, black is up a pawn, right?
Yeah.
So who's winning?
Well, black has the easy plan of just pushing his pawns in the center, and white's kingside pawns are a lot slower. So I'd say black's just easily winning.
Black has a bishop pair. Black has a more active rook. I mean, black has a center. His pass pawn. I mean, this is totally winning for black.
Did you say totally winning? Yeah, I think the pawns. Yeah, the bishop pair. The protected pass pawn. But it just seems, I bet you this is technically winning.
I mean, this is a really easy plan for black. You know, just touchdown. There's like hardly any calculation, you know. We just have to make sure our pieces don't get caught in some weird way.
Yeah, it's I just turned the engine on for 1 second. Minus 3.5. So yeah. Yeah, so pretty nice game.
Well, there's more interesting going on after that.
Oh, is there? All right.
Yeah. I don't know if you saw it or not. Well,
no, I started eating my hamburger. But
let's go.
You want to show it?
Let's go back a little bit here. Right. Yeah. So that's like the only idea for white to try and hold. I didn't see it till after I played D4 full admission. I was like, he can't take that, and then he was like, "No, I'll take it." And it actually makes things a lot more complicated. If the pawns are able to roll, then it's like just easy. So probably better for black, instead of pushing, was just like bishop f6. And then push, and it's unstoppable. But that's how chess goes.
It seems still losing after he sacks. So.
Oh,
it is. Technically it is, but it's in a practical game, it's why not? Why not try it?
Yeah.
But white guy's ideas of maybe
checkmating black. It looks far off, but there's a moment. Just wait for it. Black going closer to the enemy pawn so he can be checkmated. That was my plan in the game.
Oh, so you're gonna have 2 games in a row where you get yourself checkmated?
Yeah, that was my secret goal. Even I wasn't aware of it. And so here we probably have to play something like Rook F7, or we can't push the pawn. What do we play actually? Oh, we played the bishop. So we're like, we'll win a pawn, but... And now we have, like, checkmating ideas. I mean, we're really close. Like, we play check, king comes over, push the pawn because we want to be materialistic, and then after white's next move, checkmate's threatened. Like, we're really close here. Like, if I played h4, checkmate. So you can't just like run at your opponent is the lesson here. Like that doesn't work. Of course I saw it. Got to defend that one because we have like forking ideas and plays check anyway.
Yeah, because your king only has 1 square.
Yeah, I was looking at this, and this particular situation, there was a move. And it wasn't this one. This is the obvious one. I thought, because you were looking at pivoting over here.
No, I played bishop G7 here.
Right.
Threatening another checkmate.
Right, and then he went for the check, and the king gets out. So it's probably better to try and just hold this bind because the king can't move, and try and figure something out from here.
I mean, I was just hoping he would move the rook somewhere else and somehow miss that, but it was...
Hope chess, yeah. Luckily, I saw it. I saw it just in time. I was like, are you kidding me? Is it checkmate? Are you kidding me?
So yeah, I mean, because there's only... I mean, rook E6 is the only move that holds it.
So maybe we think about like bishop here. If it doesn't just drop. Yeah, it doesn't drop anything. And we just try and keep this king trapped for a while, threatening checkmate. And I guess black has to maneuver his bishop to this diagonal and take control over f5. and that would actually probably keep him from getting checkmated. But like, we can't force that knight out. We can't move those pawns on the king side. You know, white has those pawns right there holding us. Everything's holding us at bay. We can't move.
Hold on a second. If you move here, where does black move? Because if black moves to any of these squares, he gets checkmated. Right?
Right.
So where does the rook go?
That's a good question.
Is that...
I think...
If you move, how do you prevent that on the next move?
No, you're right. It is checkmate. If we move the rook away. So we can't move the rook away.
Yeah, but you're losing it for nothing if you don't.
I guess we play there. That's the only move, right? It's the only move. Isn't that ridiculous?
Do you get
actually
checkmated? Do you get checkmated anyway? What about
yeah,
this?
It's checkmate anyway.
He can still take
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah. It was close. It was close.
Here he goes. Here, I guess.
It's the only move.
Move here, check. Has to take.
If the king were on h2, it would work, but he's not.
Yeah.
So, I mean, no, the knight would be hanging. I was going to say maybe we could move our king back, but then the knight's hanging. So it's just a bind, though. Like, we have to keep watching f5. Like, this is probably just a draw. I mean, I
don't think it's probably white will be pushing to win. Probably won't though, because knights aren't good with pawns on both sides of the board. But is there any other move here other than to take that rook? It's almost like you could pivot back here and try to checkmate. So basically, you have to answer the question: if you put the knight here,
we can always give up the rook, though.
Oh, you can't do that because of this pawn.
Yeah, that pawn's hanging, and if the knight goes back...
well, then the rook takes.
Yeah, that's obvious, but also...
Oh, sorry.
Also, you have the point that if the knight goes this way, this square is covered, so the rook can always take a piece if it lands there. So there's no checkmate, but... You might be right. I mean, white would be pushing after that. It's probably still a draw, though.
Yeah, so basically, if you play this...
the problem here is that h4 is coming, and that should just be a draw. Easy draw, if not really good for black. I mean, this is a light square bishop, and those are on dark squares.
Yeah, so this is probably drawish.
But so like we're up the exchange, we're completely winning. Then I just like rush my king up the board. I'm like, hey, I want to get checkmated.
Yeah, and you almost do. I mean,
and I almost do. I almost succeed at my goal.
So basically, this move would have been killer.
Well, it at least draws. Yeah, it at least draws. And
well,
like, I think it's drawing now. You know.
I don't know. Your exchange up. That's except.
But
for
I can't do anything.
Trying to self-mate. Other than you trying to self-mate yourself, it probably would have been.
Yeah.
Really entertaining games.
Yeah, blunderful. Very blunderful. Yeah, and he lost the bishop and we ended up winning because there was just the knight check wasn't. It looks active, but it's not the best move here. It just lets the black king out, and then his pieces feel a little weird. He could still save the bishop, like king out.
Oh, sorry.
And we could play the bishop backs. Well, we can't, can we? We probably have to play the knight like here. Yeah, we can hold everything. But I mean, eventually this will be a win for Black if Black plays right and doesn't checkmate himself.
There was actually a situation in the game where, let me just show you where, right here, that bishop looks almost, where are we? Let me see.
No, when the knight goes to d4, the bishop is basically trapped.
Yeah. So the bishop's in trouble here because there's not a lot of good squares for it. I was wondering, you can't go here, right? Because you just lose the bishop. So right here, I thought this was the only move, and that looks like you're going to lose it anyway. I just couldn't find a any
Well,
checks.
Playing rook e8, right?
Well, my idea was h4, Black can't take. But then the move of the bishop to h6. Still can't take, but he's got f7, rook f7 check.
Yeah, but that doesn't work because you check your way out of it, then take it.
Yeah, I missed that tactic.
Yeah, this is actually the game then. Yeah.
Yes.
But I thought that even if he had, there may be no way to save the bishop here.
No, it's completely trapped. Just rook e8. There's no way out. So the knight f5 to d4 was trapping the bishop in.
Yeah. So these types of things occur when you have a positional advantage, and Black does have a positional and a material advantage here.
Now, yeah.
Except for trying to self-mate himself.
Yeah, 2 moves ago, not so much.
Yeah.
Man, it's just so crazy how it can flip on its head like that. Like, oh, this is an easy win to, oh, I'm getting checkmated.
Yeah.
Just happens like that.
All right.
But I teased Brian. I was like, you've been working on like 2-piece checkmates, haven't you? Like a lot of puzzles in your camp of training. Because he was like both games, he was playing really well with his knights and checkmating me and making me look like a fool.
Yeah. This is a real instructive game, though. The opening, I thought, I don't know if there's anything you would have done different, like in this opening, but if you look at the right here, I wish I knew the plan for white.
Most players do. This is why I played this. It's kind of hard to play it as white because you end up being stuck behind your 2 central pawns.
Mm-hmm.
And pushing almost never, like if Black plays right, pushing never really does what you want it to do. So you're just kind of stuck there and you're like, what do I play? Do I play c4? Do I play a4? Do I play for f4? It's hard to try and find a good idea for white.
Yeah, I think what you would hope for is that you could connect your rooks real quick and
right, that'd be like step 1 of your plan.
Yeah. Dominate in the center, like to find some sort of resolution to the pawn pressure here in the center. And I don't think maybe this is the way to go, but I could see why, because I think this is pretty close to curtains for that knight.
Yeah, that was my idea, was to move the knight on b1 to b2 and f1, but then the d5 stops that. So.
Yeah, already kind of serious pressure for Black for not really playing. You shouldn't be able to
anything.
you really shouldn't be able to play this way as Black and just totally right here. Just looking at the book, F3 is the book move. This is all book. It's called the French defense.
It is?
This is C4 is often played here. So this is one. This is the most popular move in Grandmasters, and then this move, and then Brian played this move, which isn't played a lot. So now we're pretty much out of book. It says that in this position here that white is ahead by a pawn.
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
So it's kind of that thing about this is a modern defense like Isaiah would play, and he does great with it. But
yeah, that's where I got the idea.
Do you play it? Do you play modern a lot or
me?
Yeah.
No, I never play the modern. So I'm sure this one came out of left field at Brian. I'm sure he wasn't expecting it at all. I'm sure he wasn't.
That's what I like to do with Brian, play something new against him. He likes it.
And I wasn't even necessarily going to go for this. It just, how he played it, I was like, oh, okay, we'll do that.
So it's kind of like the last one was like the guy who plays the Queen's Gambit Decline every game came out with the King's Indian.
Yeah, exactly. Did you see that, Matt? Did you see the video with Ethan, his game? He played that King's Indian defense, which, he almost never plays. So it was, same ideas. This is how we get over. This is how we try and win our games against each other. We're like, we never play this.
Yeah, well, I'm a big fan of that. Like, I, for the most part, kind of innovate openings. Like that one time I prepared against you in the Springfield Club Championship, Jared, and I was going to go, well, he's gonna fianchetto on the king side, and then instead you just played a standard D4, D5, C4 against me, and I'm going, puff. Then I ended up playing a bad version of a Queen's Gambit Declined, and you played Queen to B3.
Right.
And I think Queen to B6, and it's like, I can't believe I walked into this, and then it's kind of a bad book line, and then you just took on B6 and isolated my pawns. It was like, I can't believe I walked into this. And the reason why I walked into it was because I totally didn't expect it from you.
Right.
I prepared something different. But
well, we've talked about this before. Like when it comes to preparation, at least for us who are not professional players, we rarely see what we prepare on the board, unless it's Ethan and Brian playing, apparently. Because Ethan prepared that King's Indian defense, and Brian apparently had already known about the line, so it was like no big shock to him.
Oh yeah, Brian's he's good at book stuff. He knows chess theory for openings.
You gonna write an encyclopedia, Brian? Make your own encyclopedia of openings?
I don't think anybody wants that.
I mean, I would definitely let you give it to me. I don't think I would buy it. I'm not trying to insult you, but.
Okay, this is the second game. Okay, here's a link I'll put a link in the description to the YouTube video I made. This is just me watching your games and mouthing off.
Excellent.
Yeah, I think I called you beginner players in the beginning and did some things I probably shouldn't have done.
Typical Matt Pratt.
Yeah. But Adam, you still there?
Yeah.
There's the link, Adam.
Okay. And
You want to just
I'll try
copy it or? All right.
I'll try to get those linked to the playlist also, so that it just shows up on our page too.
So what are you guys doing now? Doing kind of a weekly match or something?
We don't really know, I don't think. I think we're just playing games and having chess fun.
Because I played Ethan and played Jared, so now Jared and Ethan were up next, I think.
You're welcome to join us, Matt.
Yeah, I want to. Throw me in there. I'll play somebody. I played Brian once.
Yeah.
Okay. We'll figure out how we're going to arrange it. I mean, it seems like Ethan's been staying pretty busy, so I don't know when I'll be able to play Ethan, honestly. I think his school stuff's starting to kick in a little bit.
Well, maybe you guys can play it, and I can talk trash while you guys are playing.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that'd be good. I'll play them. I'll bring a
All
few
right.
choice openings.
We could turn it into a 4-person double round robin that way.
I want to play, although I want to play some speed chess in there too. Maybe we should play like 2 games of 5 minute, 5-0, and then play 2 longer games.
Okay. Yeah, we can work it however you want. I think that will mess us up to play Blitz before we play Classical, but maybe we should break it up on different days.
Yeah, it's all good. I'm good with anything, any time control or whatever. But
Okay.
I think we should play some combo mini match.
Yeah, we could definitely work it where we do like these Classical games and then we go to like a Blitz, format. We could definitely do that.
Yeah, I think when Brian, what did we play? We played best of 10 5-minute games, were they? Or
Yeah, those are really fast when you're trying to comment while you're playing.
yeah.
They're hard for somebody watching to comment on too. Like 5 minutes is not a lot of time to try and figure out a position. It's just like, do you see the tactic? Yes or no?
Yeah. You gotta make things up real quick.
So, I don't know. We can try and figure out a day. I don't know. Are you busy during the week, Matt, or do we want to shoot for another weekend day?
I prefer weekends, but I can do any time. I work I go to work at 7 and get off at 5 and every weekday. But other than that, I'm pretty open. Weekends are better because I'm freer.
Right. Same. Yeah.
So just a weekend.
Okay. Well, we could try and shoot for next Saturday.
Yeah. Yeah, that'd be
Saturday
good.
afternoon seems to work if it works for, everybody.
Yeah, that would work for me. At the same time, this is a great time because I'm relaxed. I'm usually not doing a whole lot. That'd be good. And I would kind of like to do a match. If you play one game, that's okay. But I like playing a match where whatever you can think of. I'll let you think up the time controls. But
well, what we've been doing is 30 minutes, 5-second increment.
Yeah,
and we've been doing back to back. So play as white and then play as black. So you get your chance for revenge the next game.
I think we could maybe speed it up a bit and throw in a couple of blitz games.
Maybe. It kind of messes with the format we've established, but yeah, maybe.
Okay. I'm open to whatever. It doesn't matter. I'm good.
My thinking is we play the Classical games, and then if we want to go into like a blitz sort of thing, we can do that.
Okay. All right, we'll do that then.
We can do this indefinitely. Frankly, we could have the longest tournament ever. So.
Yeah, I really think that this is a fun way because we get to interact. Almost, the virus ain't going to let us meet. So this way we can play, and then It's really fun to have a commentator.
Yeah.
You get a little bit of interaction there. So,
well, it's definitely fun for a video if there's commentary on it. If you're just watching a game, it's kind of boring.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 2 good games. I still don't completely understand that second game, the opening, but I think I'll study it.
This one, yeah, it's an old one. It's a really old opening. I mean, when I was watching Isaiah's game, I was talking on how Spassky had played it against Petrosian in their meet, back in the 50s. So it's a really old opening.
Yeah, I just don't know exactly what happens if White tries to crush him in the opening. It's like
That'd be the principled way to go.
Yeah, I'm going to try to tie the center up and try to take all your space away, and you're not going to have any space, and I'm going to sit on top of you and crush you. So you get this type of. You can't do it right now. Let's say you do this.
I don't know if we commit to castling just yet. I think we still consider playing like H6 or possibly even A6. I mean, it's just the whole idea for this opening for black is to be really flexible and make sure the breaks in the center aren't crushing them, right?
This crushes you. This crushes you because white is a man. You know what? It's not. Isaiah is just so brilliant at this. It's like,
I mean, it's F5 for black. I don't think black's crushed here.
Black's got the C5 square for the knight too.
Got the C5. I mean, C6 is weak, yes, but we got a couple pieces on it right now.
so I guess I'm just gonna expand over with B4 here.
Yeah, now in this case, we definitely want to castle and possibly king up or king to H8.
Well, hold on. That hangs that.
I guess we don't castle it or do that. Well, we could still play. We can still play G5 and have similar ideas.
Knight's probably still coming to G6 now, like before.
And what's White's idea to like play B4 after all that? Oh, did I do that? I'm sorry.
Oh, here, yeah, was the idea was to come out here and then try to play for B4.
Can't.
Ooh.
Well, yeah, that's possible, but we had looked at H6.
Yeah, and now you're in a bit of trouble.
And we don't necessarily have to play that way. Like, we don't have to pass.
I tried.
Although we probably do, right? It's hard to say. I'd have to look at it and think about it. There is an advantage to keeping the pawn on E6 and keeping tension on the center pawn, but it's hard to go forward with the plan.
Yeah, I mean, I agree, but you think that black could actually play this with the plan of. The only thing is you can't really castle because of this pawn.
We can still play G5 though.
Yeah,
So,
except you're almost inviting a sack here.
is it any good?
No. well, the only reason it might be good is because black's king gets pinned in the center, but I think black might actually castle queenside there and just wreck you.
Yeah.
So basically I don't think it's good.
I don't know if we go queenside or not as black.
You do if white sacks on G4.
Oh yeah, definitely then. But like B4, and I guess white's playing for like C5. As black, we probably play like A5.
Yeah, that's
Because that idea is actually pretty crushing. Our bishop will get, trapped, and that would be kind of miserable for black. It's either A5 or we seriously consider like a C6 or C5. You got to look at one of those moves for sure.
well, the breaks in the position technically are these. These are two breaks in the position. This is a very weak square that white could utilize. So if you want to look at the two breaks, of course it's white's move here, but instead of playing that,
Instead of G5, play something else.
well, the thing about G5, it's no longer your move. So now it's white's move. So I guess white continues with their plan over here.
I gotcha.
And here,
So I guess we're preparing for playing Isaiah right now. That's what we're doing.
I played him once.
Have you? He's pretty good.
I went up to St. Louis and played in I played up, and I was in the half the field was like titled players, and he was in it. So at the St. Louis Chess Club, so I got to play him once.
That could be fun.
Yeah, he played modern. I didn't know he played the modern until he played it against me. I was white, and I had a chance to win the game with one move, and missed it. I could have trapped his queen.
I think the one game I saw over the board, it was a Karo Khan he played. or maybe it was Scandinavian. It was something like that. And he just played solid chess and just waited for his opponent to blunder, basically.
I downloaded all his games on chess.
You're really going at him.
And then I analyzed them all. It's
You analyzed them all.
yeah. There's this opening. There's a site. I don't think you can see it. Yeah, there's a way to download people's games. That's pretty easy. So I downloaded, looked at him. He plays modern half the time, and the other half of the time he plays a E4 E5. So he actually plays kind of a Rai Lopez as black.
I know from his commentary he was talking about playing E4 and E5 for a lot of his chess career. So I'm sure he's pretty familiar with Roy Lopez or Joko Piano.
Yeah. He kind of plays both. So, at least from the games. And then, yeah, I mean, he's a well-rounded player.
I like the way he was talking about chess moves, though. Like, we want to attack this guy, and this guy has 0 defenders, so we want to crush him, and where's our combat motif at? You know, he's throwing all this, like, tactical language out, you know? Like, I was like, this guy really gets into it. It's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, if you... once you get past the beginner stage, you can afford to talk like that. It's interesting. I mean, I'm sure.
It's real warfare.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So how are we doing with the? Hey, Adam.
Yeah.
How are we doing with the chess cup stuff?
So I've got to get the updated standings, but I think 2 teams are still tied at first, and then so we've got 2 tied at first, and I think we're tied for the next spot. So, but they have a tougher schedule, I believe, and then we'll have a shot at Illinois at the end, which is the one that's I think one like half a point ahead of us, maybe. And then we're first in game point. So.
Are we really?
If there's a tie break, we'll win any tie breaks. So.
3
Cool.
13-point matches.
Do what?
Had 3 13-point matches.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, 13-3, 13-3, 13.
We've had 3 of those? Oh, there's been 3.
Yeah, we've had 3. Yeah.
We've had 3?
Yeah.
That's incredible.
Yeah,
So like 3 opponents we just like landslide just crushed.
yeah, I mean, we lost 2 close ones to Minnesota and Iowa, and then Nebraska, Kansas, and Oklahoma we crushed.
Solid. I like it.
Okay, so I pulled up the standings. Iowa, Illinois, and Minnesota now have 4 match wins, and we have 3. So but we get Minnesota and Iowa have to play each other, and then we get a shot at We get a shot at Illinois. Sorry.
So we could actually. There's potential to overtake there.
Yeah, I mean, if we beat Illinois, we could take their spot, and then, like you had mentioned, and I mentioned that in the last commentary with Ben, that you had talked about maybe those 2 teams that are tied at 4 might kind of tip their cap, and get a draw or something. But
Yeah.
So that
If it's like a shoe win that you're in, I don't see why they wouldn't like play super solid and try to go for draws. I mean, why not?
those top 2 spots might be locked in unless they play it out and see what happens. And then, but we still got I think we would win any tiebreak for the third place wild card spot. So.
Yeah, I was looking at Nathaniel's games this morning, and like his opponents were not playing that well. I mean, he won easily in those games.
Oh yeah. Yeah, they had. Ben thought maybe they were stronger than their over the board rating. Their online rating was about 400 points higher, sometimes or 300 points higher, but sometimes those are inflated. But also maybe they just don't play over the board much.
Yeah, that's probably it. Cool.
Yeah, there's definitely a spot. We've got Colorado There's definitely a shot. We got Colorado this week, and then Illinois on the last week. So.
Kozlov coming back.
What's that?
Kozlov going to play again?
Yeah, he plays this week, and then I think I'm still waiting to hear back from Isaiah. He likes he liked doing commentary, so I don't know if he'll do that or if he'll want to play. But it'll probably be Roman, and then Ken, and then Nathaniel and Ashish, and then Isaiah might do commentary again. So.
Cool.
Probably me, Kozlov for the Illinois match.
Dude, his games, like when I was watching his games, that dude he's definitely a master.
Oh, yeah, he's strong.
He's easily a 2300 player. I mean, that dude plays solid chess. Like in the, watching his games, there were moments where I was like, man, I don't know what the move is here. Like, and he'd find the move that made everything work. And it was like, I couldn't find it. And he found it like every time.
Is it talking about the niche panda?
Ashish. Ashish Panda.
Ashish Panda.
You were talking about Roman, though?
Yeah, I was talking about the stronger player, but
Roman Kozlov, yeah.
Panda's pretty good too. I like Panda's play. He plays active, dynamic. He's always chasing play. It costs him in games, but it also wins some games. So
he's always got like a 16-minute lead in a 15-minute game. He plays so fast.
Okay, so Isaiah's probably gonna do the commentary this next time.
I think so, yeah, because he had said he enjoyed doing it.
Cool. I won't have to worry about that then. Would you be interested in doing like over the board stuff, Matt, at all, or you just hands off from that?
No, I'm good with that.
Okay. I was talking to Brian a little bit earlier about maybe going to like a park and trying to get in some over the board games because we have the state championship coming up here pretty soon. I don't know if you saw that, but if we want to enter, it'd be nice to actually have some over the board training in. So we're not showing up cold.
What timeline on that?
I think it was November 7th, something like that. Yeah. So it's pretty soon. And that's here in Springfield, of course.
It's in Springfield?
Yeah.
Oh, hell yeah.
I don't know how we'll
Missouri
work
State
the over the board stuff, but
Missouri State
what was that?
Missouri State Championships on November 7th and 8th. Or no, I'm sorry. Yeah, November 7th and 8th. And it'll be in the Plaster Student Union at the.
Is that the class championship or just the overall?
I think it's just the Open Championship.
Yeah, they might.
It's not the class.
They have prizes for Class A and B, but it's like seems like it was $100, something like that. So it's like okay, thank you. I'll take it.
Yeah, you might be surprised that the turnout might be low, which would give us better chances.
I wouldn't be surprised if the turnout was low, like dramatically low.
Yeah,
it might end up being just like us local players playing each other,
That'd be fun.
That would be fun.
Well, that's what we talked about. We don't know if it's going to be like nobody shows up or if they're storming it because they're hungry for chess or something. So.
Yeah, I don't know, but yeah, I'll definitely be there. I've been playing a lot during the virus, but it's all online stuff and practicing. So.
Yeah, well, I've been practicing. I just haven't been playing at all.
Yeah, I could see by your king making those king runs. They were epic. See, remember that one that
epic in the wrong way.
It was short. There's a few epic king marches in chess. Those weren't it.
No, they were not. Was that Tinman? The Tinman game?
Yeah, Tinman versus Short, where Short marched his king all the way up to I think H6 and. It was right through the battle.
Yeah, I wasn't actually envisioning that game or anything like it. I was just thinking, I'm going to go forward. And I should have been thinking, he has pieces that can checkmate me. I should always be thinking that. No matter what. Always think you can get checkmated.
Yeah, they did checkmate you, actually, in that first game.
Got me in the first one and nearly got me in the second.
Yeah.
Terrible.
Yeah, go forward with your pieces. Don't go back. And taking is a mistake.
Never play like a Frenchman.
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll just have to try and figure out there's some weekend where we can get together for over the board then, and hopefully the weather will be, good. It should be. So far, the weather's been really, really nice. So
Yep.
I don't know. We'll talk more about that in email correspondence, I guess.
Got
Yeah.
some
Or
homework.
maybe next week we're going to play on Saturday. So
Yeah. I don't know if you'd be interested in subbing that out, Brian or Adam.
But
It'd be kind of weird though if we had 3 players. We'd almost need to try and get a 4th in there. Have a couple games. I mean, we could just play shorter games and go round table with it, but
I think it'd be fun to play kind of like a little match, little matches.
okay.
Daniel,
Yeah, Nathaniel would probably be interested for sure.
Yeah, kind of like the World Cup where they have matches and then you advance. And I don't know. It's just anything's good for me.
Okay. Well, maybe we'll do that instead. If I'm sure Adam will be missing doing editing work. I'm sure he's just loving that.
Yeah, it's exciting. Actually, I'm kind of learning a lot watching the. So I'll hear it the first time, and then whenever I edit, I hear it again. So it's kind of reinforcing what you guys said the first time.
Well, that might be good or bad. I'm not
So I
sure
think it's
which.
kind of doubling as a chess lesson, maybe.
Yeah.